Here's 4 great tips for using choice making as an effective strategy to decrease meltdowns or challenging behaviors. Before I get started, I just want to say that this is a short version of a couple of tips. If you'd like to watch the longer version, it's about a 44-minute video, but much more in depth on the topic I'm talking about today and much more. Click on the link above. Choice making is an effective and research-based strategy to help reduce meltdowns or challenging behaviors. But there's some essential things you need to know about choice making, and here's 4 great tips that you can use to increase your effectiveness as a parent in employing choices. Tip number 1 is that as your child continues to escalate in the meltdown cycle or the crisis escalation cycle, his or her rationality begins to decrease. As the heartbeat increases and the blood pressure rises and the adrenaline starts to pump, on the flip side of that coin, the things that we see decreasing is a child's ability to hear, to rationalize, to compromise, and to think rationally. So it's important that when you use choice making that you do it very early on in the meltdown or crisis escalation cycle, because in the latter stages it's not an effective strategy. A second great tip to remember is to offer choices with consequences. And what I mean by that is that after you offer a choice, make sure that you state the consequence of each choice. A lot of times I see caregivers, they'll provide choices, but they won't state what the consequences are. And some kids are motivated by knowing what the consequences are. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. A lot of parents will say you need to turn off the TV and take out the garbage. Now, to make that more effective, what a parent could say is you need to turn off the TV, take out the garbage, and then you can come back and watch TV for another 30 minutes. What that tells the child is what the consequences are going to be of taking out the garbage. On the flip side of that coin, you could say you need to turn off the TV and take out the garbage, and if you don't, then you're not going to watch TV the rest of the evening. Again, the consequence has been stated negatively this time, but nonetheless it's been stated, and it lets your child know what the consequences are going to be if they don't turn off the TV and take out the garbage. A third great tip is to make sure that when you state choices, state the positive choice first. Typically what happens is if you state the negative choice first, or the choice with the negative consequence to it, a child tunes you out or shuts down after that, and they never hear the positive choice, which doesn't give them a chance to be motivated to do what you need them to do and get that positive consequence. So for example, I could say you need to turn off the TV and take out the garbage, and if you don't, you won't get TV the rest of the night. And see, by that point in time, they could just tune you out and start to engage in a meltdown. And they'll never hear what comes afterwards or after the which is, but if you turn the TV off and take out the garbage, then you can come back and watch another 30 minutes. So the better thing to do is to state the positive choice and consequence first. And then the final tip is to use visual communication strategies if necessary. In this particular case, you'd probably want to use the first then board. You can click on the link above if you'd like to find out more information about that. But in the first then board, it's simply a way of stating those choices, the positive choice and the negative choice, in a visual format. And for a lot of kids, that's a very effective way of trying to communicate that. Hey, listen, if you have any comments or questions, leave them in the section below. And while you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube channel.